Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to the Backshed Bible Study. It's the 23rd of June, 2025, and I am here in my shed this morning. I have the amazing privilege of being joined this morning by Kim Shaw, who's at Hume Lake. Hi, Kim.
Hey guys,
Uh,
how are
how
you, Cliff?
I'm fantastic. I'm missing being at Hume this year, but that's okay because we're having quality time here at home. So. Uh,
Nice.
but how is it up there? How did it go yesterday? Getting all the kids up there and all that good stuff.
Oh, you know what? It went great. The ride was super smooth. I had a carload of kids and another counselor, and we just had a great ride up. We got through the registration stuff, which is a little bit of a kerfuffle. We'll just thank Luke for that. He knows what he did. And
Did he
no,
did he forge Sarah's name?
we're having a great time. He forged Sarah's name on the paperwork, but he didn't forge Sarah's name. He just wrote his name twice.
Yeah.
So
I
it wasn't even a good forgery.
I was wondering if they were going to catch that, but anyway.
Oh, they did. And they were going to make all of our Ponderosa kids stay on the wagon until Luke and Sarah got here if
Oh
I could not have
gosh.
got them on the phone. So luckily we got them on the phone. They stopped. They did everything they were supposed to do. We're all here and checked in. Everyone's having a great time. You can see some wagons behind me. I'm up at
Yeah.
Wagon Train. We just finished our morning chapel with some skits and things. The kids just went to wagons to do some Devo time with their counselors.
Fantastic. And Kim, I'm not gonna ask you to hold on for a long time today or anything like that, but
Okay.
I think the big thing is uh oh gosh, I wish you could have seen it. We had such a neat moment in church yesterday morning, and 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 when we just asked people to pray for Hume and our students' time there, and it was just like super special. I mean, I started talking about how God just showed up and all the how much money came in and how truly. Nobody could say that money was a thing that would keep them from coming to camp, and the crowd
Yeah.
just kind of erupted in excitement. um, but I
Yeah.
was really
It's the best.
encouraging our congregants, and I was telling them how I'm personally praying for my own kids, but like help us know from your perspective how to pray for our kids up there this week.
Oh, thanks so much. You know, Cliff, I think for me, priority I had this week was that each of our camp counselors, we've got a great group, Sergey, Allerson, Hillary, and Aaron are all up here. And I want our counselors to each have an opportunity to share their own testimony with our kids and talk with them about where they are in their relationship with God. Because whether or not they already belong to Jesus or they're in that journey, we just are so excited about walking that path with them. And this week is the perfect time to stop and have some great conversations in the middle of fun. So for me, that's our big prayer, that we'd have good conversations with kids and really have meaningful time with them.
Yeah, yeah, because so much of that happens. The speaker can say something, but it's like so much of it's going to be in those one-on-one conversations. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And there's so many opportunities to have those conversations just in the middle of all the fun. There are those moments that fall in between the cracks of those big times. And I just love that.
yeah, yeah. No, it's awesome. And by the way, Alyssa Schwartz says hello, Kim, and I know she has a vested interest in what's
Hey.
going on up there this week. So, yep. Good
Yeah.
morning, Luke. Good
We're
to
so
see you.
grateful for everybody who made it possible
Good
for
morning.
kids
Good
to be
morning.
here.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Luke, I know exactly where you are.
Hey, Luke.
Yeah, it looks like I'm at Fort Miller right now. It's it's, uh,
What are you
There he
seeing from
is.
your perspective up there, Luke?
I'm kind of watching like everybody get,
I'm going to
go
go, Cliff, you
by.
guys.
Kim, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate it. Thanks for the backdrop of the wagons. That was perfect. And
Oh,
we'll
that's
be
good.
praying for the students, praying for the counselors, and praying for you too as you lead them all.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, you guys.
I didn't
Yeah.
make it down to the waterfront. I got up and I was working. I was actually starting some sermon prep, and I got down to the patio here, and I was going, and then I just saw the text now, and I didn't make it down to the waterfront area where you and I have done for the last
Right.
2 years,
Yeah.
which is kind of the standard place. And I looked, and I had like 4 minutes, and I'm like, I don't think I can get there in time. So I'm here now. So I kind of am in like the crossroads where I could see all the workers kind of heading
Yeah.
to their places, like it's like
Yeah. No,
station
you're
time.
like, I think you're kind of right outside their little lounge area there and fire pit. I don't know. Is that where?
Activities like center where people will
Yep.
be meeting here. And yeah, it's kind of like the crossroads, I would say, where where everybody is is heading. So yeah. Yeah,
This is
we got here yesterday after after, I would say which is a good thing, minimal excitement on the drive.
that's good.
Um,
That's a very
you know,
good thing.
I say minimal because we stopped for lunch, and I'll say, I mean, the church knows by now I'm a person with a very simple palate. So my regular stop on the way is this one Sonic drive-in on the way up, and it just so happened that Kim called on the way, like as we're at Sonic, which is good because we weren't driving. And apparently, I had signed Sarah's waiver when you sent it to me. I had signed it. I don't know. I just signed Sarah's waiver, and that was apparently holding up registration. So I logged in, and
I
Sarah signed her waiver. So
I well, it's funny. I had seen that on ahead of time before anybody left, and I thought, if their system let you do it,
yeah,
so so what? But that's
yes.
apparently they don't
We
do it
were on
that
the
way.
phone with like, registrations on speakerphone, and they're like, "You signed for Sarah." And I'm like, "Would it help if I tell you that I'm Sarah's primary caregiver?" And Sarah's sitting in the passenger seat of the car, just her eyes could not roll further into the back of her head.
So so your trip up wasn't just like quality time for the two of you, or
Oh gosh.
oh
Yeah,
man.
so
Well,
that was good.
if that's the biggest
Biggest
issue,
issue, we're doing all right.
we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my goodness. Yeah.
no, it's good to be back up here. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Well, it looks a little cloudy from what I can tell.
it is. Today's kind of like that. From what I look at the weather app, it's kind of like the warm up day. It's just a bit of cloud, and then the rest of the week kind of it really warms up, which I think, weather strategy wise is actually a good thing because sometimes
Yeah.
you get it where the first day is like 90 degrees and everyone gets sunburned and you're just recovering the rest of the week. This way, it's just we're ramping up to the heat.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I
so it should be
remember
good.
last year there were all those fires in the distance, and so the
Yeah.
smoke that dropped down there in the Hume Basin was just terrible. And
Yeah, it was wild. I remember because Sarah and I last year and this year as well, but last year we brought up e-bikes and we were riding around, and we actually were riding where it was like it was a controlled burn at the one
yeah,
place, but we were riding where it was like smoldering,
yeah,
and like really interesting. But it just sinks into that bowl that is Hume. But
yep. And then if you don't have any of that wind in the afternoon to push it out, it just sits there and
yeah,
you're just sucking up exhaust at that point. But
yeah, it's I think the kids are in or just finishing chapel right now. So it's that calm before the storm.
yep,
Uh, it's kind of funny. It's I was thinking last night because we got our counselors over in middle school. Joe, our tech guy's in there, and it's like,
yeah. Joe's my like. If you guys don't know this, this is so cool. Joe, sits behind the board and really just visually and auditorily, I don't even know the right word there, I didn't pay enough money for degrees to get that word, but ideologically, no. But he is back there making everything happen, and you never see him, and so this is kind of fun that he's going to be, he's on the front lines. I talked to him yesterday uh, how just praying for my own son. He has my son in his cabin, and what
And
that's going to
mine.
look like. And he was giving me his vision for what that was going to look like. So I was super encouraged to. I mean, and my daughter has Sam Graham as her counselor, and Sam's amazing. She's like
Yeah.
the Kajabi queen at Hume.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She went out on top. And for Joe, he's the it's kind of a homecoming for him because he spent
Right.
that summer as the tech guy in the middle school
In middle school camp.
at the middle school chapel. So yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's such a big difference when I remember having worked at Hume all those years. And the first summer I came to Hume with Sunrise back in 2014, I always remember sitting down with the students in the middle of the crowd. And I'd never done that before as a staff person. And and then just experiencing camp from the perspective of a church versus a staff person, and I kept pulling the camp directors aside that whole week. I'm like, you guys need to understand what a big deal camp is to these kids, like, and to these churches. You don't get it.
yeah, it's
uh,
really interesting for me, like these last kind of 3 years, because it really feels like this full cycle where, camp was is been such a huge part of my life from really start to
yeah,
finish. Like camp was the springboard for me getting saved. Like I came back from camp as this like 8, 9 year old, said knew I wanted to be a boat driver when I grew up, but it was really like you know, it really solidified like I wanted to be a Christ follower.
yeah,
And I went to camp every summer. I ended up working at camp, every summer. I was a counselor, then, hit the pinnacle as that boat driver, and then went even higher as the golf instructor and waterfront director, and then became a pastor. And then, I was telling, Ari and Levy before they were leaving here, they didn't realize how much they got, when we were in Saskatchewan, because winter takes up so much of the year. Summer is so different. Like 2 weeks before school ends in Saskatchewan, every single driveway has an RV or a trailer in front of it. Like, and people
everybody's
just
getting ready to go.
disappear. And every single kid is like at camp in the summer. And so, like, student ministry for me was we spent like 4 weeks. I'd go to camp, speak, come back on a Sunday to preach. We'd leave that afternoon, go to another camp, do speaking, come back. So we'd do about 4 weeks of speaking right in a row every summer. And from the time that they were like, 2 and 4, they spent 4 weeks at 4 different camps
Uh-huh.
traveling around every summer. And so I've gone through the speaking now, and now to be like, I've kind of joked around here. It's like now I feel like the grandparent at
Yep.
camp, like I get to
Exactly.
hang out with them. We're gonna go up paddle boarding, tomorrow or Wednesday, I think, with a bunch of them and do stuff. I get to sugar them up and
Well,
send them back to their cabins and go back to my cabin and sleep at night.
Well, and the thing I love, Luke, that you and Sarah do is you hang out there on that deck over there by the in Ponderosa camp, and kids can kind of just, and people from the church and counselors can just kind of come and go and hang out with you all for a few minutes. And there's never been a sense that you're one of those pastors that, is lofty and far away from people. But, like people our kids are, like I said, our students, our counselors are just hanging out with the pastor and his wife, and Tracy is there, and Cord will stop by, and it's just a neat connection for people from our church to hang out together, and every once in a while you buy them something. So
Yeah. Camp's a fun time.
yeah,
It's a whole new world, right? It's a interesting dynamic. And it's yeah, it's for those who haven't been, and I know people watching, and so many people who've helped get kids to camp.
Yeah.
It really is tough to describe, the dynamic that camp is and the experience that it is, the culture that it is, and the impact that it is, that it has on it. And I'm not just saying from the kids, like from the counselors, like from a counselor's point of view, to watch kids' lives be transformed.
Yeah.
You can't even underestimate that,
Yeah.
and like what Cliff just said, what you just said of to be sitting there in a chapel being like, you don't know how much this means to these kids, right? Like you don't at
Because
every
you've
single level you
because you've
see.
got those relationships with the kids and you've seen where they've come from or the things that they're already dealing with and um,
Well, here's a classic example, right? Like so Presley is working up at camp right
uh-huh.
now, right? Here's a kid who's been to camp and then come up, through Sunrise. Now graduated, just got back from a missions trip and now is working at camp. Like you see these levels of how camp has transformed now working at camp and how it's working. So it's kind of everywhere in there. So
Yeah. And Luke, the thing I was saying when Kim was on there a few minutes ago, right before you got on there, it was amazing when I was getting to do announcements yesterday in church and we did the announcement about Hume and the kids, were already on their way up there. But to look at our congregation and see what a clear role our church body plays in getting this group to camp. I mean, there are churches that are struggling to get people that are willing to send their kids to camp because of how expensive it is. And when I just look and go, there is no money is not going to hold people back
yeah.
from going to camp with Sunrise. So it's one of those overwhelming things for me when I look at it from a pastor's perspective.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think, for both of us, for you, you've got that Hume connection, and just been invested in camp. For me, it's I've just been invested in camp, my whole life. And
Yeah.
so it's you see it and just and the impact that it's made. And so it's just, you know, it's like every year I come up here and I see the advertisement of senior camp, like not high
Yeah.
school senior camp, but the seniors camp. I keep on thinking we need to do like, senior lunch on the road, like up
Hey,
here,
I just renewed my commercial passenger driver license. So
oh yeah. Wow.
we
Yeah.
we can rent a van.
Hey, is that right? I mean,
Y'all
the
got to get in that van though. That's the
I know,
question is.
yeah. Yeah. The question is, are all of you ready to sign a waiver to let Cliff drive you up to Hume?
the, the incident in Minneapolis is no longer on my record. I'll have you know.
No, yeah. Yeah,
And
the
and the lady, this was okay. I got to give context just because I can. On my sabbatical 3 years ago, we were just outside of Minneapolis, and I was towing the trailer with our Yukon, and I just took out the tail end of this Honda Accord, and the poor lady that whose car it was, she was very kind, but she says I just had a pacemaker installed yesterday. She was a little stressed. Oh my goodness. Okay, Angie's watching along, so she's making a comment. She misses seeing Presley on a regular basis, but Angie, I heard you got to go up and see her. So cool. Donna wants a seat on the van. Let's see here. Yeah, so does Nancy. And then mother and daughter, Trudy and Linda, are both noticing, Luke, that you found your glasses.
I did. Yes. I think it's because I was wearing Sarah's sunglasses on Sunday morning because I couldn't find mine. So, yeah. They complimented me and said, I like those sunglasses. And I said, I actually think they're Sarah's. So, Oh, Sarah's actually here right now.
Hey, Sarah. Sarah.
You want to come on Pastor's Live or
Is
Backshed
she,
Live?
am I in your ears or are we on the phone out
Oh,
loud?
yeah, you might have to put this in your ear. Oops.
Um,
It's pretty good. Oh, hey, the Cluths are here too.
hey, Sarah, I understand that
Yeah.
Luke is in charge of all your medical records and is your guardian or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I signed for you on the.
Oh, this is hilarious. So the microphone is in Luke's ear, but it's not in Sarah's.
Oh,
So we
here.
hear
Just
not a
wait.
word.
Just wait. I'll.
Sorry, Sarah.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I kind of like this now that I know this. This actually works out great.
Sarah,
All
just
right.
sit there and look good. You're doing great.
So,
All right. I think
like,
Oh, we
we're.
can hear you now. We can hear you.
there we go. I said what got. Oh, does it work now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're on. We're.
Okay.
Oh,
There we-
now she can't hear me, but she could talk. This is awesome.
All right. You can hear us?
What got my attention was I heard something about sunglasses, and I was like, those must have been mine that Luke got many compliments about.
Hey, Donna, by the way, says that she is willing to go to Hume and willing to sign a waiver
Oh, nice.
to do so. So,
Okay,
There you go.
that sounds great.
and
That's-
Bill will not sign it for her. She will sign her own.
Yeah, we lacked a little bit of communication there in that department.
Yes. I thought I was being proactive by signing everything
Right.
for everybody. And yes.
Well, okay, so I might as well just humble myself before all y'all here for a moment. But I was logged in with Hume and trying to sign my kids' waivers, and it wouldn't let me. And so I just logged in as April and signed them as April.
But you don't get in trouble for it. You don't hold up a bus or anything for it. So
Well,
You're not responsible for holding up 60 kids
60
camp
kids that want to jump in the pool and go get
plus a
milkshake.
bus driver that wants to go home.
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Yeah, so
I just stopped in to say hi. So if you need me to go.
yeah, no, appreciate we're just chit-chatting here. You know, usually we're out there by the lake, and
Oh, that's right.
I was gonna do a little prep session on Jehovah Rapha this morning, and but I managed to get Kim and Luke on here, so that was great.
The the difference, if you ask Sarah, you see we have two very different types of camp experiences. From when we were dating, see, I was the golf instructor and the boat driver / waterfront director at my camp, and Sarah was at Circle Square Ranch in Saskatchewan.
So I was in like Wiggins, like very cold Wiggins,
Yeah.
the lead girl head counselor. So we had when we would recap over the payphone that you had to put quarters in
Yep.
and talk to each other. We would
Now,
and
do you put
calling
do you
cards.
put quarters in there, or do you put loonies in there? What do you put in there in the
It was
payphone?
quarters or anything. They will take anything. They will take anything.
It won't give change though.
No, it won't. But you had to then also decide what we're going to spend your laundry, like quarters, but there was calling cards.
But when kids
Oh,
would run
calling
away,
cards. Yes.
when kids would run away, legitimately, you could see them for like about a day
Yes.
because it was straight out like Little House on the Prairie, like it was
Yep.
in the middle of nowhere for her.
You've told me a few of those stories. I had a similar story at Hume one time at winter camp where a kid decided to run away at night in the middle of winter camp and just took off out the road. But you know, the problem is there's just snow everywhere.
Yes.
And, you know, from the plows, they push the snow off the side of the road. And so I saw this poor kid trying to take off out the road. So I'm like, I'm not going to run after this kid. I'm just going to get in my truck.
Yeah.
And so I just drive out, meander out the road. And this kid is, I don't know why this poor kid was so despondent, but she, she was going to run like to Fresno or something, which is 65 miles.
That's crazy.
And so I just like driving along and I get past her and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I just like turn right in front of her and just stop.
She says to you, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. And I just turn in front of her and just slam my truck right into the snowbank, and where she has no choice but to just stop. And she like tries to run over the snowbank into the woods and gets
Oh,
stuck in the
that's hilarious.
snow. And then I got to call a girl lead counselor to get out here because I'm
Yeah.
alone with a female camper who I
Yes.
just ran off the road.
Yeah.
Camp stories. I was thinking
Right?
about creating a separate podcast just for camp
Oh
stories.
my goodness. It'd be like
So many.
volume 1 through 20, right?
So many.
Hey, Sarah, by the way, you have multiple people saying hi to you this morning.
Hi,
Trudy's
everyone.
watching along. Gina Polly says hi.
Hello.
So you got the Sarah fans are on board here, and they're like
Awesome.
thrilled to not just see me and Luke for a minute.
Oh, no. Aw, hello, everyone.
I'm going to do a quick little camera change because Sarah, I want you to see what your son did.
Oh, no.
Oh no, this is very positive.
Okay. I was nervous.
Let's see if I can.
That was not a good
iPhone.
reaction from like, oh, no.
Look at are we on? Here we go. And let me switch over to that. Okay, can you see?
We can.
Yeah. All right. So guys, this is what Ari and Peter built right there. Was my wood rack
Yeah.
To hold the wood. That's
to
awesome.
hold the wood. Yeah. So hi dogs.
And it holds the wood.
Yeah.
And it holds the wood.
Yes, it did. Yeah, they had fun. That was awesome.
And contrary, let's see here. I got to switch everything back now. All right.
And they did that on a Saturday, I believe, or no, I don't even actually know which day it was. Peter calls up Ari and wants to spend time and says, let's do something for my dad. And that's awesome. And we're wondering when Peter's going to come to our house and do something for Ari's dad.
We need to do that because
We should just keep doing that. Well, and Ari thought it was a surprise. So we were like, yeah, make sure you don't. So he was just like excited. And then, and he wanted to know if I bring my tools. That was the first question. He knew it had to.
Well, my favorite thing was walking in Luke's office that morning, and I'm like, the story of Huck Finn and the whitewashed fence. Like, I feel like that just happened at my house.
For sure.
Because Peter's like, let me get somebody else to come and do the work.
I'm really proud that it holds wood. This is great. They did a great job.
And I actually panicked because I was told, like Sarah told me, like, don't tell Cliff because it was like
I thought it was a surprise.
Supposed to be a surprise. Like,
did you tell Cliff?
No. Cliff came in.
No, I told him
and was like,
oh, like, gotcha.
Hey, Ari's like, story of Huck Finn and the whitewash fence, and I panicked because I was like, I thought this was supposed to be a surprise. They're making something for Cliff before Peter goes off to college, and Cliff comes in announcing, and I'm like, who told you? Like,
right.
I'm supposed to know this.
Yeah.
And the total context is I had because we're traveling a lot this summer. We're between the trip we just got back from and kids at Hume, and we're gonna hit a wedding next weekend and go to Colorado after that, and then Peter goes off to college in probably the middle of August. So like my dad was like, my son works during the summer. He doesn't play around, and Peter's like, I get to hang out with my friends all summer. So we sat him down the other day and we're like, all right, we're going to have a number of, since you don't have a job, and we're going against everything I believe in, you're going to have some projects around the house to get done between now and when you head off to college, which he agreed to, and then decided to invite Ari to help him with. So,
and then they did have a great relaxing time. I came into each kid in a different room on a headset with a video game controller.
Back at our house.
At your house, right?
Titus, Ari Levy. It was really
cool. And then they wore themselves out in the
pool. Yeah.
Which is great. So
they had a day. That's what summer's supposed to be. So I think it was
exactly
an eclectic day.
Did they stain the wood and everything, or did it come like that?
It's pressure treated wood, so it stands up to the weather. So it's costs a little more to buy that lumber, but it lasts a long time. So
that's really cool.
That was good.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyway, not a lot of substance here. Like I said, my plan A today was jumping into Jehovah Rapha and doing a sermon prep for a month from now, but This is a way
I
better.
was kind of hoping you'd be like third verse of El Shaddai as we jumped on.
April looks at me during church and she just starts laughing at me. Oh, but I just have such clear memories of seeing Amy Grant in concert singing that song.
You know what?
Goodness.
There's this psalm too where it was like, "Oh Lord, how majestic is
Yeah.
your
Oh
name
yeah.
in all the earth." And I quoted that, and I'm like, I think that's Michael W. Smith, but I think it was a duet
Yep.
with Amy Grant as well that they actually
Probably.
did. And I'm like, how many Amy Grant, Michael W. Smith references do I actually make in this sermon? Like just
As many
to
as
this, you know?
Angels watching over me.
And it's like also like early 2000s, late 90s references,
Yeah.
as well,
My second live concert was Amy Grant at seeing her at Fresno State and
Really?
in their outdoor amphitheater, and she had just changed her image and was wearing like all these like leopard
Uh,
things and
Amy.
I remember that I remember like playing El Shaddai. Like that was, because I remember because I think this was like the cell, because like my parents, as the oldest, I had to do all the piano lessons. But I remember my parents trying to be like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't just have to be classical music, like you can do like contemporary Christian and like, see, here's El Shaddai, and
okay, this is the best comment I have ever had on Backshed. So Alyssa Schwartz just says, um, oh my gosh, after yesterday's service, I ended up having a dream last night that Pastor Cliff got up in front of us all and sang that song.
yeah,
Let's make that dream come
Let-
true.
let-
Alyssa
let's hope
or Alyssa.
let's hope that it was prophetic.
We're gonna do it.
This is going to be like Dawson
Alyssa,
Bennett's
that's
wedding, where I practice Spanish over and over and over
Right?
to do the vows. Oh my goodness
That was
gracious.
awesome.
Right?
But everyone understood that knew Spanish, so
Yeah.
you did good.
Yeah,
Yep.
I had
They
one
didn't
thing I
understand.
said where the person looked at me and like, no, didn't.
Nope. No
No,
bueno.
you missed it on that one, Cliff.
The interpreter.
No, it was Ada Morgan, who will always speak straight with you, right?
Yeah, I
And
love her.
she just
Love her.
she looked at me and goes, whatever that was, that wasn't Spanish.
I'm worried what you did, what you said.
Well, I'm like, well, that was Google Translate. Sorry.
I hope it wasn't during the vows and you messed something up.
It was kind of a piece of it. It was just a small piece. It was like a little phrase, and it just didn't quite,
Oh,
And anyway, so
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
there we go. Next time, maybe someone will let me do their wedding in French. That would be way more fun.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oui.
Okay, well, this is digressing very rapidly.
Since I entered the conversation, I'm sure.
No, not at all, Sarah. In fact, like you're getting everyone excited after all of this, and they are people are saying have a good time. People are talking about Amy Grant coming to Sunrise years ago.
Really?
What?
Did she?
That's what Angie says.
Did she wear
Wow.
that leopard outfit? Because I don't know.
It would have been pre-leopard.
It would have been pre-leopard.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
big by the time she had the leopard skin thing going.
That's
But
cool. I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, we'll have to check into the veracity of that statement. Angie.
Yeah. Maybe we have a VHS tape to prove that.
We might have a what did they used to call that? The pre-VHS. There was like a
E-track? No. That's
anyway, whatever.
It's a Viking theme here this week.
It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is if I remember right, we're talking the story of Joseph, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of prophetic dreams.
Yeah. Give us a little, if you can, give us a little preview into that, because this is what I love about Hume is they will take a biblical story
Yep.
and tell it through a genre that has some, ability to
Yeah.
to communicate that story.
Yeah. And I mean, Wagon Train always is, from what I understand, the wild, wild west, with its own little take on the wild, wild west, which is fun. I always go over there and partake in one of my favorite games uh,
Little
with
D&G.
a little David and Goliath
Yeah.
with like I want to say Goliath himself, our very own Sergey.
Yeah.
Sergey, absolutely. That is like his favorite game on the planet. He
Yes.
might
Like
like it more than
he
hockey.
has, I was telling the Bennetts yesterday, like he has a shirt that has like all the lines with his kills of over the years on it.
Yeah.
Like a
And
David
I
and
was
Goliath.
with him his first time he ever counseled.
Yeah.
I will have you know in
Yeah,
2021. Yeah.
it's brilliant. Um so I go over there. And by the way, it was his daughter who was the one who thought I was on TV in the sermon.
I
We
wondered
we
if it
were
was
looking that up during church, and I
during
found a picture.
You can do that. If he makes a reference about something golf or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
All
no, I have a picture. Um
So-
and this is I'm going to put this on the camera here for a second because I want everyone to see like
Oh wow, yeah.
there is a likeness there.
There is. Where's
Like
your hat?
compare that side by side.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
do that pose. Do that, but do a side by side. Do it
Yeah,
right now.
you need the-
Where's your hat?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Let's do that.
that's Owen Wilson.
Oh goodness.
It's Luke Miller.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, in the eyes of a, 6-year-old maybe. So
Cute that she thought right away.
yeah.
Hey,
Either
Angie
way.
says that Amy Grant sang in the old sanctuary, currently the youth center.
What?
That would have been like early 80s.
We've got to have
Yeah.
pictures.
Early 80s, maybe like late
Maybe
70s.
we were the church that got her started. Like for that size, that's like
Could you imagine?
yeah.
I always like to say that Hume was the camp that got Francis Chan started.
Let's
There's
say.
kind of a fun story behind that.
Oh.
The camp was happening at Hume, and there was the speaker. It was on a Sunday, and the speaker ended up getting really sick and had to go home, or something like that. The main speaker for camp, and this youth pastor that was up there, I think it may have been Dave Moore. It might have been somebody else, but said, "Hey, my intern here, Francis, is a really good speaker. He's got a lot going. He's up and coming." And they literally had him speak that week, like on the spot. And it kind of launched his, I don't know, his
kind of speaking.
visibility. Yeah.
For us, like I said, with Saskatchewan and our camp speaking, we found like year over year, our church would grow roughly 25% at the end of every summer directly related to camp because there were kids would come to know Jesus. Yep. And it is a testimony to kids will go, our parents will go where their kids go. And we would see just these new families whose kids say had their lives transformed, and kids will drag their parents to church. And they started coming, and like year over year, we just saw that. And that was like every summer, and I would say like to the, at the end of every week of speaking, I'd be like, because my worst fear, so lots of times they do this, like the testimony or, the call to know Jesus, at the end of the week. And I would do it usually on a Wednesday because my biggest fear is it's like you haven't given them time to prep them for what's next. You just, the saddest thing I hear is like when you go back the next year and they see their friends again and they're like, how was it? And they're like, well, it was great for the first 2 weeks. And then I kind of, fell away. And so we, I really wanted to prep them, but I'm like, when they leave on a Saturday, I'm like, if you are in, our city, like I will be here Sunday morning and I want to see you there, and I will be
ready.
The way I preach here is the way I preach on Sunday morning, and I will see you there. And like, I will, and
that's cool. And that was philosophically behind Hume always doing decision night on Tuesday night when I was there. I don't know if they still do it that way, but the idea was that if somebody made a commitment on Tuesday, that gave them Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
having those talks with the counselor and with the youth pastor, and to,
Yeah.
and part of them being there with the church is they're going home with the church.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's different for us because like
Yeah.
there, it's like you don't go with churches. It's all like you're all
Yeah.
individuals like going to camp kind of thing. And so you got to get them plugged in. That's the biggest thing, is get them plugged into churches. And
Yeah.
so, I would go with like a list of like, you're in this city, like here is my connections in that city to get you
Yeah.
plugged, and
Yeah, it's so good.
I would tell them every year, I'm like, I would give them my card. Like every camper could, at the end, the last week, it was kind of a dangerous thing. I'd give them my card, with my number on it. And I was like, if you want to get connected to a church, I don't care if you're in Timbuktu or Kalamazoo, you call and I will call up a pastor in your city and I will call him up and say, this is this person. They love Jesus. They want to go to your church. I want you to meet them at the door on Sunday.
I love it.
So, and then I had them, and then we'd get them from all across Canada. Like people would be like visiting in the summer and we'd call, and I'd just call someone in, 3 provinces.
Which is why
over.
it's so good to network.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Never know.
yeah. And,
Hey, great time. I'm glad we had this time together this morning. You connected me with my home of 15 years. And,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
let's see. Thank
Anytime
you.
I need something around here, I just,
Drop my name.
drop your name.
Yeah.
You need to get a thing that says the loitering, just like
Yeah.
on Sunday
Yeah.
of Cliff Carey. Yeah.
Yeah.
A loitering.
There are very few
Carey,
monuments left to my
right.
existence
Put it
there.
on
With carryover. Very,
Center for Loitering.
Let's see what's
patio
over
loitering
there.
excellence.
Yeah, I don't think there's much left. Anyway, you could look up if you stand at the bottom of the tube run and look up. The first house on the right is where we lived, and you can see a lawn and retaining wall that I built there.
Oh,
It's where I learned how to work on a bobcat skid steer.
That's
Yeah.
something.
we'll go stare at it later.
That's my legacy. You can see
Legacy.
there's Cliff's
Aw.
legacy is that wall.
One of many.
Nice. Yeah. It literally paved the way for, what you did in your backyard.
Exactly. It's true.
There you go.
It is very true. Hey, we have Lynette Purvis watching from Cincinnati, or not Cincinnati, Pensacola, Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? Vicky Lee is watching on this morning. Trudy wants to know how the snacks are. I don't know if that's an inside joke, but
I haven't even gotten to any snacks yet. So
yeah.
I have.
But I'm gonna head into the office and get some things done that I can do without anybody there, which is awesome.
us who distract.
It's all right. Rec time's about to start here, so it's about to get a whole lot noisier.
I love it. Well, Luke, Sara, thank you so much for joining me and all of us this morning. And thank you all for joining. Pray for Hume, pray for our kids, pray for their counselors. And we're just expecting to see God work. And I gotta, we're just expecting to see God work. I was going to say something about one of my kids, but then I realized one of my kids actually goes back and watches almost every Backshed episode. So we're not
Amelia?
going to publish those
Amelia,
things.
and she edits appropriately.
No, she's in there watching Phineas and Ferb. That's who she's
Oh
watching.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, which I took a nap yesterday and then woke up to Phineas and Ferb playing, that's slightly a nightmare. But anyway, I digress. Hey, let me pray for you guys. All right.
All right.
Lord, thanks so much for just a fun time this morning. Thank you for Luke and for Sara. And I'm so grateful that you've led them to be at camp during a week. It speaks so much to students and to our counselors that the pastor is hanging out at camp. And so I just pray that you would give them a great ministry this week. Please, Lord, would you just lead Cord, give him the energy to lead our students well, and with Kim as well, and all the counselors. And we're just praying that our young people, our kids, my kids, that their lives would be radically transformed for the gospel and the cause of Christ because of this week at camp and through everything else. So we just commit them to you. We thank you. We love you. We pray this in the powerful name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. All right.
All right. Thank you, my dear friends. I
You
look
bet.
forward to more updates and from
Yeah,
the back shed.
Make sure you check Facebook, because I believe
Oh, yeah.
they're sending
Already things
pictures
posted.
and all that stuff and updates throughout the week and posting it. So everyone can find out more about what's going on there.
Fantastic. And we'll see you back at church on Sunday.
We'll be there.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.